Hey guys, it's me, Santa Shaggy. And as you can tell, I'm sitting here by the fire trying to keep warm on this cold and chilly night. Yeah, I'm just thinking Christmas is almost here and pretty soon Santa Claus will be coming down the chimney and bringing things for the stockings and everything. But that's not why I'm sitting here in front of the fireplace right now, though. Many of you guys have asked me, Shaggy, will you do another reading by the fire? And I thought, yeah, I can do that. But I had a hard time coming up with what I'd read this year. I mean, I read the night before Christmas last year, and I read something for Grandma Elf Day, and I got to thinking, there's one character this year that we usually do a day of, and for some reason we didn't this year, which I'm kind of shocked that we didn't because he's my favorite, one of my favorite characters that has to do with Christmas. uh, and he's been kind of attacked this year, unrightfully so. But that's none other than, oh, you guys probably have already guessed it by now. You know who one of my favorite characters is, and you can probably see his antlers right there. It's our good buddy Rudolph. Hey Rudolph, looky here. Ooh, boop 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 boop. Yeah, I'm gonna read the original story of Rudolph that was written back in 1939. Before I read the book, though, I thought I'd show you. I've got a copy of one of the early hardback copies. Dates back to the 40s, I think. But yeah, I'm not going to read from this one because you can tell this one's been well loved over the years. But I did want to show you some of the illustrations. I'll show you the first page of illustrations. Look how vibrant the colors are back then, and they still hold up today. This is, like I said, this book is close to 70 years old. Oh boy. I'll be reading the same story as this one, but in a newer version, or newer book. This one came out in 1989 for the 50th anniversary of the book. And let's go ahead and read the book real quick and see what you guys think. I'll open it, and it says, I'll show you the illustrations when I go to turn the pages. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, written for Montgomery Wards. Some of you guys might know that Shaggy used to work at Montgomery Wards. By Robert L. May, illustrated by Denver Gillen. Okay, let's see. 'Twas the day before Christmas, and all through the hills the reindeer were playing, enjoying their spills of skating and coasting and climbing the willows, and hopscotch and leapfrog, protected by pillows. Well, every so often they'd stop and call names at one little deer not allowed in their games. Ha ha, look at Rudolph, his nose is a sight. It's red as a beet, twice as big, twice as bright. While Rudolph just wept, what else could he do? He knew that the things they were saying were true. Here's that same picture I just showed you in the older book. See how the colors are a little bit more muted nowadays. Where most reindeers' noses were brownish and tiny, poor Rudolph's was red, very large, and quite shiny. In daylight it dazzled, as the picture shows that. At night time it glowed like the eyes of a cat, and putting dirt on it just made it look muddy. Oh, Rudolph, was he mad? Oh boy, was he mad when they nicknamed him Rudy. Although he was lonesome, he always was good, obeying his parents as good reindeer should. That's why on this day Rudolph almost felt playful. He hoped that from Santa, soon driving his sleighful of presents and candies and dollies and toys for good little animals, good girls, and good boys. He'd get just as much as this is what pleased him, as the happier, handsomer reindeer who teased him. So as night and a fog hid the world like a hood, he went to his bed hopeful. He knew that he sorry about that. He knew he'd been good. My voice is all of a sudden crackling and it's making it kind of hard to read. while way up, while way up north on the same foggy night, old Santa was packing his sleigh for his flight. This fog, he complained, will be hard to get through. He shook his round head, and his tummy shook too. Tummy, oh, I know about shaking tummies. Without any stars or a moon as a compass, this extra dark night is quite likely to swamp us. To keep from collisions, we'll have to fly slow. To keep our direction, we'll have to fly low. We'll steer by the street lamps and houses tonight in order to finish before it gets light. Just think how the boys and the girls' faith would be shaken if we didn't reach them before they awakened. See, there they are packing the sleigh. Come Dasher, come Dancer, come Prancer and Vixen, come Comet, come Cupid, come Donner and Blitzen. Be quick with your suppers, get hitched in a hurry. You too will find fog, a delay, and a worry. And Santa was right, as he usually is. The fog was as thick as soda's white fizz. Just not getting lost needed all Santa's skill, with street signs and numbers more difficult still. He tangled in treetops again and again, and barely missed hitting a tri-motored plane. See, there he is, almost hitting a plane. He still made good speed, with much twisting and turning, as long as the street lamps of the street lamps and house lights were burning. At each house, first noting the people who lived there, he'd quickly select the right presents to give there. By midnight, however, the last light had fled, for even big people have then gone to bed. Because it might wake him, a match was denied him. Oh my, how he wished just one star to guide him. Through dark streets and houses, old Santa fared poorly. He now picked up presents more slowly, but less surely. He really was worried, for what would he do if folks started waking before he was through? There he is, flying through the sky, all perturbed, wondering if he's going to make it in time. The air was still foggy, the night dark and dreary. The Santa arrived at the home of a deer. Alleged that he tripped on while seeking his chimney, gave Santa a spill and painfully skinned knee. And a painfully skinned knee. The room he came down in was blacker than ink. He went from the chair and then found the sink. The first reindeer bedroom was dark and so very black. He tripped on a rug and fell flat on his back. So dark was that he had to move close to the bed and squint very hard at the sleeping deer's head before he could choose the right kind of toy, a doll for a girl or a train for a boy. But all this took time and filled Santa with gloom, while slowly he groped toward the next reindeer's room. The door he just opened when, to his surprise, a dim but quite defined light met his eyes. The lamp wasn't burning, The glow came instead from something that lay near the head of the bed. And there lie, but wait now, what would you suppose? The glowing, you've guessed it came from Rudolph's nose. Okay, let me reread that. And there lie, but wait now, what would you suppose? The glowing, you guessed it, was Rudolph's nose. So this room was easy, this one little light. Let Santa pick quickly the gifts that were right. How happy he was till he went out the door. The rest of the house was black as before, so black that he made every step dark and mystery. And then came the greatest idea in all history. See Santa snapping right there? Yeah. He went back to Rudolph and started to shake him, of course very gently in order to wake him. And Rudolph could scarcely believe his own eyes. You just can't imagine his joy, his surprise, at seeing who stood there so real and so near, while telling the tale we've already told here. Poor Santa's sad tale of distress and delay, the fog and the darkness, and losing his way, the horrible fear that some children might waken before his complete Christmas trip had been taken. And you, he told Rudolph, may yet save the day. Your wonderful forehead may yet pave the way for a wonderful triumph. It actually might. Old Santa, you notice, was extra polite to Rudolph regarding his wonderful forehead. To call it a big and shiny nose would sound kind of horrid. There he is talking to Rudolph, telling him all his story. I need you, said Santa, to help me tonight, to lead all my dear on the rest of our flight. And Rudolph broke out into such a big grin, it almost connected his ears to his chin. A note for his folks. He dashed off in a hurry. I've gone to help Santa, he wrote. Do not worry. Said Santa, my sleigh will bring down the lawn. You'd stick in the chimney, and flash, he was gone. So Rudolph pranced out through the door very gay, and took his proud place at the head of the sleigh. There he is running out to join the other reindeer. The rest of the night, well, what would you guess? Old Santa's idea was a brilliant success. And brilliant was almost no word for the way that Rudolph directed the deer in the sleigh. In spite of the fog, they flew quickly and low, and made such a good use of that wonderful glow from Rudolph's forehead at each intersection that not even once did they lose their direction. See him flying? Yeah. Well, as for the houses and streets with no sign on them, they merely flew close so Rudolph could shine on them. To tell who lived there, who lived where, just what to give whom, they'd fly by each window and peek in their room. Old Santa knew always which children was good, and minded their parents and ate like they should. So Santa selected a gift that was right, while Rudolph's forehead gave just enough light. It all went so fast that before it was day, the very last present was given away. The very last stocking was filled to the top, just as the sun was preparing to pop. See, the sun's coming up. Oh boy. Wow. The sun woke the reindeer in Rudolph's hometown. They found a short message that he had written down. They gathered outside to wait his return, And were they excited, astonished to learn that Rudolph, the ugliest deer of them all, Rudolph the Red-Nosed, bashful and small, the funny-faced fellow they always called names, was practically never allowed in their games, was now to be envied by all far and near, for no greater honor can come to a deer than riding with Santa and guiding the sleigh, the number one job on that number one day. All the reindeer are excited to see Rudolph come back. They changed their mind. The sleigh and his reindeer soon came into view, and Rudolph still led them as downward they flew. Oh boy, was he proud as they came to a landing, right where the handsomer playmates were standing. These bad deer who used to do nothing but tease him would now have done anything only to please him. They felt even sorrier they had been bad when Santa said, "Rudolph, I've never have had a deer quite as so brave or so brilliant as you at fighting fighting black fog and at guiding me through. By you last night's journey was actually bossed. Without you, I'm certain we'd all have been lost. I hope you'll continue to keep us from grief on future dark trips as Commander-in-Chief." Oh, there they are coming down for a landing, and everybody's excited, and Santa talking to the reindeers. But Rudolph just blushed from his head to his toes, until his whole fur was as red as his nose. The crowd first applauded, then started to screech, "Hooray for our Rudolph! We want a speech." But Rudolph was bashful, despite being a hero, and tried his sleep trip totaled zero. And tired his sleep. Okay, let me reread that. But Rudolph was bashful, despite being a hero, and tired. His sleep on this trip totaled zero. So that's why his speech was brief and not bright. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. And that's why, see there he's glowing from his head to his toes. And that's why, whenever it's foggy and gray, that Rudolph the Red-Nosed, who guides Santa's sleigh, be listening this Christmas, but don't make a peep, because that late at night, children should be asleep. The very first sound that you'll hear on the roof, provided there's fog, will be Rudolph's small hoof. And soon after that, if you're still as a mouse, you may hear a swish as he flies around the house. It gives enough light to give Santa a view of you in your room, and when they're all through, you may hear them call as they drive out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night." There they are flying off. And that's the end. Another picture of Rudolph. That's the first telling of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I hope you guys enjoyed it, even though my reading was kind of terrible this time. My throat's a little bothering me a little bit, but still. But hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys would like me to read another story, let me know what story you'd like to hear. We may even do The Night Before Christmas again. Who knows? But until next time, I got my little buddy, and we want to say Merry Christmas! Whoop, boop, 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 boop. See you guys soon. Shaggy out. Ha!